I'm going to be sharing with you the things that I hate about being a makeup artist. I have been a makeup artist for almost 7 years now, and there are a lot of things about this job that are very tough and stressful and that I wish was different. So I'm going to share with you what those are.
Okay, let's go.
I'm not normally one to make such like a negative style video, but I actually think that it's really helpful to see like the downsides of it as well as the positive things. I've done loads of videos on being a makeup artist, how to become one, how to get more clients. I've done kit videos, I've done loads. I'll link them all down below. So I think that a lot of these points I'm going to make will also be applicable to a lot of other freelancers and people in the beauty industry, and not even just the beauty industry, just small businesses or self-employed people in general. I'm just going to be focusing on the makeup artist side of things. First one is the amount of hats that you have to wear. You cannot just be a makeup artist, you have to be social media guru, you have to be good at admin, you have to manage your own finances, you have to be good at communicating with people, you have to be business minded as well. It's not just like, can I do makeup? Yes, okay, then I'll be a makeup artist. Like, if only it was that easy. And it actually does become quite overwhelming because a lot of the things that you do outside of the actual makeup appointments is unpaid. So it is actually something that does take a lot of love and passion to be able to do a job like this. It's something that you need to accept is just part of it. So going back and forth with messages, I have had the amount of people I have spent probably 10, 12 messages back and forth about an appointment to then be ghosted. And you know, people are well within their own rights to not follow through with an appointment, but just from like my perspective, like I have to set up a quote because I need to see how far away they are, what kind of makeup they want. So you go through all these times, the dates, and then you'll maybe send them a message sometimes saying, well, you need to pay a deposit, and then they just won't respond, or do you want to book this in then, and then they just don't get back to you. So you kind of left like sort of wondering like, is this appointment going to go ahead or is it not? And sometimes they do come back at weeks later and go, I'll have that appointment, and you're like, it's been weeks since we last spoke. So that's the one thing that I would say is probably the most noticeable for me, is all the things you actually have to do. Like, I had to set up spreadsheets to manage my income, my expenses, tracking how much I earn, tracking all your products, making sure you're ordering things, that the admin side of it, the emails, the wedding quotes, like talking with people on the phone, like all of this is completely unpaid as well. A customer might see that you're charging them X amount for a makeup appointment, but obviously all the other stuff that you've had to do does take time as well, so you kind of have to be very mindful of that when you're pricing. I personally don't actually take it into account as much as I should do. I kind of think like, okay, so how long is this makeup going to take me? Where are they? How much is it going to cost me to travel there? And that's how I price it, because I'm in a position where being a freelance makeup artist is actually a side thing to a main job, full-time job that I have. For me, it's not as vital to make sure that I'm turning a profit. It just, for me, is something on the side that I've enjoyed doing and that I actually don't want to take full-time. Which leads me on to my next point. Why wouldn't I want to be a makeup artist full-time? Plenty of people have this as their goal, their dream, and I understand it completely. For me personally, the amount of downsides that come with being completely self-employed and relying on a beauty service such as makeup, it just gives me so much anxiety. You are not guaranteed appointments. It's very much conditional on the time of year, depending on how busy you'll be. You know, most of the time, Monday to Friday or Monday to Thursday, you're not really going to have bookings in because most people work those types of days and hours. And it might be that you get more, you know, in summer for weddings and graduations and stuff like that. But for me, not having that guaranteed income every month just makes me like feel so anxious. The other side is that I think in order to be able to do this full time, you do need some kind of specific skills. So whether that's that you can do makeup for TV or celebrity makeup, like there are ways to be able to earn a full-time living, obviously, because plenty of people do it. I've never found like a specific interest that I've wanted to explore that would be able to give me the opportunity to do makeup full-time. It's just generally something not that I could imagine myself doing like all day every day. I love makeup, I love the end result, I love seeing people's faces, I get so much enjoyment out of it. But I do worry that if I ever wanted to take that full time, would that go? Would it just become another job? Would it just become my 9 to 5 like oh, I've got to get up and do makeup now. That's not how I feel about it, doing it on the side of a full-time job at the moment. It can be tough sometimes doing it this way though, because if you're like me, I work Monday to Friday, and then usually makeup would be mainly on a Saturday or some Sundays. So there are some weeks that I'll end up working like 7 days, and that can be stressful and overwhelming too. So there are definitely pros and cons to doing it like part-time and full-time. So I would say if you are considering being a makeup artist, or you're just starting out on your journey, definitely take everything into consideration before you make your decision of what kind of route you want to go down. The next one is a very big thing for me with being a freelance makeup artist. If you're a makeup artist that does makeup in a salon or a shop, then you're pretty much covered for this, because there's always going to be someone else around. But for me, I travel to people's homes and hotels, and a lot of the time it's people I've never met before. I do have sort of safety procedures in place. I tell someone where I'm going, what I'm doing, who the person is, and they track my location. Something that I've had to put in place because of experiences I've had in the past where I felt unsafe. And the other thing is as well, is when you're in someone's home, you are in their space, and it very much feels like there's some kind of like the balance is off. They're hiring you for their services and they're in their home, so some people see that as that they can very much act a certain way, which I don't agree with. I had an experience which I did a video on, experience with this client. I had a client that refused to pay me because she said she already had and she hadn't, and the same client was making extremely racist comments and made me feel extremely uncomfortable. If I was in a salon, they'd have been asked to leave. I would have stopped their makeup there and then and told them that I wasn't doing it. But I was in their home with 6 or 7 of their family members, and they were very much I don't know what the polite way to say it is, if I need to put it a polite way, but they were rough. Like I was worried about giving them something back. I'm there with all my kit all laid out and thinking, if this goes sideways, I can't just grab all my stuff, like everything's everywhere. Anyway, watch the video, I'll link it down below. But that for me was such an eye-opening thing that I was like, God, like I didn't realise like how much pressure and sort of what could potentially happen with going into people's homes. So it's something that I'm very cautious about, and at the time when I had that experience, I definitely don't think I had the balls necessarily to say something to them. I think that's probably changed now, and I'd probably act very differently. I think sometimes I do regret a little bit not dealing with that situation in a different way, but I think I've just got to let that go, live and learn from it. So the next one is weddings. So weddings can be the most beautiful, like amazing mornings when you sat doing someone's makeup, ready for the big day. Everyone's got like really high spirits. Like it can just feel like, oh, don't you just love love? Like, I just feel like it's such a nice thing to be around, but sometimes it doesn't quite go that way. So you don't always get that really nice, happy, positive vibe from wedding mornings. You will get bridesmaids and brides arguing, you'll get kids running around and playing up, you'll get things that are going wrong, so everybody's stressed, people are snapping at each other. And the main thing that I've experienced numerous times is people just not being organised with it. When I book a wedding makeup in, I make sure to ask obviously how many people there are, what time they need to be ready for. I give them clear instructions of how long I need to spend on each person, and that every person needs to be ready to go when I'm ready to go, because otherwise all this timing's going to go off. I do leave a bit of time for you know, something happening that's like completely unforeseen. The amount of weddings that I have been to and stood whilst bridesmaids are arguing between themselves about who's going first because it's 7 AM is ridiculous. Like, it happens a lot, and it's something that I always ask people to make sure that they've got down. But everybody thinks, well, I'm not going first, it's 7 AM and the wedding's not till 1 PM, like my makeup's gonna come off. That's not the case. Wedding makeup is very much has to be applied to last all day. That's for both the bride and the bridesmaids. Plus, first and most of the time second person I do touch-ups before I leave. I get them back into the chair, I'll add a bit of powder, top up the lipstick, whatever they need before I leave. And that's the way I've always done it, because it is literally impossible to do it any other way. There's always got to be someone first, and if there's 6 or 7 people, it's impossible for me to start any later than I already am. I've stood there so many times while people are arguing, like, no offence, but I just don't want to, and it's just so awkward, like really, really, really awkward. It's just something that I've experienced so many times. And I did actually comment on a video from a makeup artist recently who was saying about things that they've experienced at weddings, and I did comment this about people arguing, and so many makeup artists replied and said, oh my god, I've had the same thing. So I know that it's a very common theme. Another thing for me being a freelance makeup artist is the added stress and time of travel. I've travelled over an hour before to get to makeup appointments. Obviously that's something that I choose to do, but it can be very stressful because as much as you can try and plan for like traffic and give yourself extra time, there are some times that just will never work. You could come across, like I have in the past, a crash on the motorway. I've been stuck there for hours. People have missed their appointments. I felt so guilty because I can't get there. I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. I can't move. And they're annoyed because they're going out and now they've got no one to do the makeup. And I'm frustrated because I'm stuck here. Like, I want to be there. I'm going to lose out on money. I feel bad for the client. So I think all of that and the amount of kit that you have to carry is a lot, like a lot. I definitely need to work on condensing mine down. I've been thinking about getting a lot more palettes for things like blush and bronzers and creams because it's just so heavy. Like, I have a carry-on suitcase full of makeup. I have a bag that sits on top that opens up with my brushes full of makeup, and then I also have my chair and my ring light. Carrying that sometimes in hotels, I've had no stairs, or carrying it up 3 flights of stairs in some people's houses, or having to park in the middle of Manchester city centre and go to a hotel and carry all that stuff. Like, I actually remember one day I went to do an appointment in a hotel in Manchester city centre. It was quite late at night. They were going out. I think it was 4 people's makeup. Loved it. They were amazing girls, really chatty, really friendly, but I could not find anywhere to park when I got there. I ended up parking like a 15-minute walk away, which 15 minutes walking, that's not too bad, right? But with a suitcase, a carry case, a chair, a full-blown like director style makeup chair, you know the one, and a ring light, my back, I got to my car, burst into tears. I was like, I actually can't believe the pain that I've just been through. I stood there for 4 hours doing makeup, and then I'd had 15 minutes walking there in my kit and 15 minutes back. I was done. And that was another thing where I realised, like, I couldn't do this full time. My back would be in bits. Like, I don't actually know how people do it. I've seen one makeup artist who has like a back strap, because you do tend to like lean in weird places like when you're doing it. Again, if you're in a salon you won't have this problem, but then you'll have the extra cost of renting a chair, and I think that also comes with its downsides of that if you've got no one booked in, you've still got to pay that rent. So I think that there's obviously definitely pros and cons for both of them. A lot of these things that I've mentioned will be suitable for both, whether you're in a salon or you work in TV makeup or whatever it is that you do. I think a lot of these are relevant, and I think it's important to recognise that there are downsides to it, because on the surface some people will see makeup artists that do celebrity makeup and think they just have this amazing job, and don't get me wrong, it's incredible, but it will come with a lot of downsides as well, and I think it's really important to remember that, and for people who are looking to get into it, to be aware of the downsides as well as the positives. So I thought it would be really interesting. I actually really enjoyed sitting and talking about this stuff. It almost feels like you're kind of getting something off your chest. But yeah, my journey in makeup is still continuing. I'm still taking makeup appointments on the weekend. I'm still taking wedding bookings, but everything else in terms of like exploring any different avenues of makeup is probably not something I'll ever do, unless that changes in the future, who knows. And I did used to do a lot of makeup tutorials on YouTube and like on social media and stuff. I have dialed them back a lot and they're basically non-existent. Main reason for that is because I am very limited with space in where I'm living at the moment, and also when I was in my flat I used to have like a makeup room. I set it all up really beautiful for filming, and I had a lot of stuff happen in my personal life, which meant that I just never really felt like doing that, and it kind of hasn't come back. I am looking to try and get back into more of like reviews and stuff like that, some recommendations, because I do enjoy doing that and trying out new products. I just think that it does cost a lot of money to do that. If you're not getting gifted things, then buying new makeup all the time to review sometimes is a waste of money, and also you end up with loads of products that you don't really need. So I'm very mindful about trying to get the balance right on the type of content that I'm producing. But if you would like to see any more of those types of videos or any more makeup artist series videos, please let me know what you want to see and I'd be more than happy to do it. But thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you here again soon. Bye!